Yankees, let's get behind the chiller. Yankees, they're gonna learn to feel it. Yankees, everyone knows they play to win. Cause they're from New York. Yankees, coming today, play with us. Yankees, what do you say we win a brand new ball game? We're gonna spread the powder the ball. We're gonna scream, put it out of the ball. The other team's gonna know what it means to play the ball. Yankees, loud and loud, we love the Yankees. We're really proud of our Yankees. We wanna win today. 2, 3, 4, and go. We're gonna shout when you're out of the ball. We're gonna scream, put it out of the ball, yo! The other team's gonna know what it means to play the Yankees, loud and loud, we love the Yankees. We're really proud of our Yankees, and we wanna win today. Why? Hey there, guys. This is CP Cards and Dice. We're right about to continue our game. The Minnesota Twins at New York Yankees here in the Bronx. It's on April 13th. Cold winter day. I believe it's April 13th. Let me double check that. And now it's April 15th. April 15th, and we will, they were playing the Orioles April 13th. So it's an April 15th game against the Minnesota Twins, and we will have that in there by the end of the game. And the score right now is 2-1 Yankees. Let's see how that scoring came about. Let's do that quickly. Scoring happened. It was the first inning with 2 outs, and Rod Carew singled, stole second, and then a double by Larry Heisel scored him. And for the Yanks, it was a first inning home run by Roy White, and then a second inning home run by Oscar Gamble. So Dave Goltz, the pitcher for the Twins, has been giving up some gopher balls here early on in this game. So we're going to join the action in the top of the 4th. I'm separating some cards. Chicago White Sox, the next team to come into town, so I'm starting to separate them. So let's get started. And it's going to be Munson, Chambliss, and Nettles, 3, 4, and 5, followed by 6-hitter Oscar Gamble in right field. Willie Randolph, the 7th-place hitter at second base. Rich Coggins, a guy I had to pull from another team. I can't remember what team I pulled him from. We'll see it when he comes up to bat. And then Jim Mason in the 9th spot. And it's going to be Rudy May. Rudy May's pitching for the Yanks. He was 15-10 and 3.72 ERA. He eventually was traded to Baltimore. That's why I have a Baltimore Oriole card for him. And that's about it right now. So we're ready to roll. We are ready to roll. We are ready to rumble here in the top of the 4th. Just tightening things up just a little bit. Make some space for doing a couple of different things here. There you go. All right, so I can see. All right. Hey there, Bob. Hey, Bob, I was texting you, man. Yeah, Frank Messer. Yeah, and Phil Rizzuto, right? I was texting you this morning, but I didn't get a response. I don't know. I don't blame you for ignoring my texts. A lot of people do it. That just shows your high intellect. All right, so it's who's up? Let's see what's going on here. Bottom of the fourth. Let's go top of the fourth, and it's Rudy May against Cusick, Craig Cusick, and that's a 3-3, and that's going to be a blank, so it goes over to Cusick's card, and that's going to be a 5-6, and that's going to be a question mark to left field. Question mark is up here against a lefty. Up to an 11, it's some sort of hit. We roll a 6, so it's going to be a line drive base hit single to left. So Cusick starts us off with a line single against Rudy May, and that is the fourth hit that Rudy May has allowed so far. Butch Weiniger, he's a switch hitter, batting righty against May. That's 6-2, and he's batting righty, so that's going to be a blank because it's a split decision, if you will. It's going to be 3-6. 3-6 is going to be a question mark 8. This is a ball to center field, and again against a left-handed pitcher, it's going to be up to 13, and that's a 3, and that's going to be a single. So a single to center, and stopping at second is Cusick. So first and second, nobody out here in the top of the fourth inning. Dave McKay. He's a switch hitter, batting righty as well. And that's 2-5. 2-5 is going to be a walk plus against a righty. Against a righty batter. And get down. What are you doing? Jesus, the cat. I told you the animals drive me nuts today. Okay. So it's 2-5, so it's a walk plus against a lefty. The walk is a 3. And it's a -2, so that's a 1. And okay, so it's a 3 minus actually 2. So that's going to be a 1, and we're not going to roll. Oh, we rolled a 2. Holy smokes. Okay, so it's not a walk, so we're going to roll over McKay on McKay's card. So didn't walk very much against left-handed pitching, so that's pretty good against the splits. We know that about McKay. All right, that's a 6-6, and that's going to be a star line 4. Star line 4 is a ground ball to third base. Now, with runners on first and second, this gives us a good opportunity for a double play. And one thing I've noticed about the Yanks, Cat is knocking things off the table. I don't know what she knocked over. All right, stop knocking stuff over. Get lost. No, you're not. You're not doing that. You're not doing it. All right, get lost. Go. All right. So we're going to look at a 5 for double play here. So let's do that. Let's look at the pivot. I don't think there's any pivot pluses. I don't see those very often, to be honest with you. I see some. Oh, there's a plus Willie Randolph. That's right. Willie Randolph. I have to memorize that, so I have to keep on looking. So it's a +1, and it's a +2 on May. In other words, 1 and 1. And then it's a 3, so that's a 5 or less. Wow. So it's looking good. Oh, and then a +1. It's really a 6 because the +1 for the middle halfway. And that's a 6. It had to be a 6. So I'm not sure if there's a rule that says a 6 is an automatic go to the. Let me look at that real quick. I don't remember that. See if it's there. If it's not there, that it's an automatic go to first base. You only get one runner. Let's see, ground outs. Okay, so it's going to be a 5-4-3 double play, how I interpret it. And it was almost like an automatic double play there. So ground ball, and it's going to be a 5-4-3 double play. All right, 2 outs now. So that's a huge double play for Rudy May. Gets him out of a tough spot. And that's going to be a 5-2, and that's going to be blank. So we're going to go off to Steve Bry. He's a right-handed hitter. And that's a 4-4, and that's going to be a question again, a ball hit to left. I guess you can call it like a range play. A ball hit to left, and we roll a 15. That's going to be a fly out to left, and that's going to retire the side. So the first 2 hitters reached on singles, but with the double play and the fly out, it moves us to the bottom of the second, 2-1 Yankees. Yankees made it all the way to the World Series in 1976. Thurman Munson was the MVP that year. Thurman Munson had 105 RBIs and a 3.02 average. Doesn't sound like much for an MVP. You'd think, he would have hit 40 home runs and driven in 150 runs and batted 350. But no, he hit 17 home runs, drove in 105 and 32. But it was his presence. It was his influence on the game itself and his presence. And he was a hardworking guy. He was a working class, hardworking guy. Thurman Munson, the Walrus. His nickname was the Walrus. 4-2, and that's a range play. So we're going to go off of Munson's card. So this could be good for Munson. This could turn into a hit. And that's going to be lined to the first baseman. And I'm not too sure who the first baseman is. Let's take a quick peek. First baseman is Rod Carew. So I don't remember. I don't recall. He's a 4 range. 4 range. He's going to roll a die. And he makes a catch. So it's a line. It's lined to the first baseman. And right there is Carew. 1 out. Next is Chris Chambliss. He's a left-handed batter. Batted .293. Played in 156 games. Oh, that's a lot of dice rolls there. 3-1. That's a range play, but off Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium should be a pretty good hitter's park. We'll see what that means. And that's a 5-2, 5-2, and that's going to be a range play, third baseman. And who's playing third base? Let's see again. Third baseman is Dave McKay. I know Dave McKay goes into the expansion draft. He ends up, I believe, with the Toronto Blue Jays. Dave McKay, I remember him. But he's a terrible fielder. But his range is average, is a 3. So let's see if he can make that play, and he does. So it's going to be a 5-3 put out. 2 out. And I know I get some support out there, some assistance. People, that's foul ball. It's a souvenir for a lucky fan. Here's the pitch from Dave Goelz. Dave Goelz was 14-14 with a 3.36 ERA. And that's a 5-5. 5-5 is going to be, if he's tired, it's a single, but he is not tired. So we're going to re-roll on Chris Chambliss's card. And that's a 3-6, 3-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to third base. McKay up with it, fires the first, high throw. But with the tag is Carew. Nice play by Rod Carew. And man, that Rod Carew can really hit the heck out of the ball, huh? About a 331 in 1976. And in 1977, I believe he batted 388. Holy smokes. That's a pretty good batting average, man. Danny Thompson, I had to pull his card from Texas. He's a shortstop. Not much range. Decent in terms of errors, but a lot of times they don't get a lot of errors because they don't get to a lot of balls. They were saying that about Ryan Sandberg. He never had many errors because he just didn't – any ball that was out of his reach, he didn't try for. But then again, other people say that he had the most amazing range in the history of ranges. So it's like who you listen to, you know. The only way I think you'd really know is if you watch them. Like I watch the Mets. Say there, guys, who's here? Bob is here. Glenn is here. And yes, the A's with Billy Martin. There you go. But as I was saying that, Ryan Sandberg, if you watch that baseball demos video on comparing and contrasting Strat and inside pitch cards and how they rate players and does it hold water, Do the rating systems hold water? Fascinating for conversation and to bring up different perspectives and to learn more about the games that we enjoy on the tabletop. Rudy May against Danny Thompson. Oh, that's a foul ball. Pulled foul. And it's a 4-2, and that's going to be a blank. So we're going to go off Danny Thompson's card. Danny Thompson had 320 at bats, batted 222. So he's mostly a field, no glove, good field, no hit type of guy. 1-3, and that's a fly to center. Jerry Terrell leading it off. Terrell is the second baseman today. And that's 4-4, and that's going to be blank because he's not tired there. And that's a 4-5. 4-5 is a fly out center field. Running it down is Mickey Rivers. Mick the Quick has a 5, rated a 5 for range in center field. Just wanted to give you the heads up. Mick the Quick can move and groove in center field. 1-2, and that's going to be against a righty. It's going to be blank. Against a lefty would have been a potential K. And that's going to be a 5-1, and that's going to be a star line 2, which is a fly ball again. Mick the Quick on the run, and the gap runs it down. And he's flashing the leather. Eventually, Mick the Quick, I know he was picked up from Texas and then eventually ends up in California. I think he's a West Coast guy. He was very laid back for New York. I remember him. He would take a long time to get to he would take a long while. Wow, when I move in a certain way. All right. It took excuse me. Took him a long time to get into the batter's box. Holy smokes. But then when he hit the ball, he was like Flash. You ever watch Mickey Rivers? Holy smokes. They called him Mick the Quick. But man, he took itty bitty steps towards the plate, took forever. And he used to spin. You know how a heavy metal drummer spins the sticks? Well, Mick the Quick used to spin the bat that way. He'd take a swing, he'd miss, and he'd spin the bat. It was fascinating. I was watching the 76 game the other day. I can't remember who they were playing. But yeah, just to watch the Yankees and get the feel. Greg Nettles against Dave Gols. Nettles hit a home. Oh, no. Should be Oscar Gamble. Excuse me. Oscar Gamble. There it is. All right. Here's the pitch to Oscar Gamble. 5-2. Pull these out. I hate when this happens. There, 5-2. And that's going to be a potential strikeout against a righty. It's a 9. Where's my what did I do in my ballpark? I've been doing that lately. I'm going to put it somewhere else so I don't do that. There it is. All right. Put it up there. So my ballpark is a -3. So let's see. 5-2 is a K. So against a righty, so it's a 6. We rolled a 2. That's strike 3. So blows one by Oscar Gamble. Revenge for the home run earlier on. And it's Willie Randolph. Slick Willie is what they called him. Willie Randolph. 1-3, and that's going to be ballpark. Just going to pull the ballpark card. See what it teaches us. 6-1, and that's a ground to the short. Excuse me. Under the weather, guys. Holy smokes. Rich Coggins here. This is where I found Rich Coggins in the Chicago White Sox. Rich Coggins batted 160 and 100 at bats. Started the season off with the Yankees, but then they moved him to. Eventually, he hooked up with Chicago, but obviously he did not have a season to remember. Although he did have 4 stolen bases. All right. That's going to be a 4-5, and that's going to be a range play. Again, in Yankee Stadium. Let's see what happens. This may work out for Coggins. 4-2, and that's going to be a single +8, and a couple of guys have taught me how to do this. So it's going to be a single plus an 8. So basically, Coggins singles, which is good for him, but he's going to try to make it to second base. He's going to try to stretch it into a double on his own, much to the chagrin of the manager and the first base coach. So let me look at the defense here and see who's out there. Steve Bry is a center fielder. I do not know this team by heart yet. Steve Bryant, center field, has a +1 arm. Rich Coggins is a 3, so that's a 4. So then let's see. Let's roll. See what happens. Will he make it to second base? And we roll a 6. He is out. So Bryant throws him out at second base. Holy smokes. So we're going to write a single. Oh, no. I'm going to undo that. Using the stat keeper called Ball Score. And it's kind of contrived. It's a little bit clunky. So single and out, batter out, trying for second. That's it. We're clicking on that. That's all done for us. There, done. So that was exciting, and I learned how to do that, and I feel more confident about that. Makes sense, kind of intuitive. I mean, most of this game is fairly intuitive. All right. Rudy May against Rod Carew. We're in the, what is this, the 6th inning? Top of the 6th inning. Rod Carew. Rod Carew is 1 for 2. He singled and grounded out. That's a 2-5. And a 5 is going to be, he's batting lefty, so that's going to be off Carew's card. We're going to roll. And that's a 4-5. 4-5 is a fly out left field. 1 out. Next is Larry Heisel. Heisel doubled, drove in a run, and struck out. And that's 4-6. That's a potential walk against a lefty. That's a 9, but in Yankee Stadium it's -2, so it's a 7. We roll a 1, so that's a ball 4. And Heisel is on at first. Heisel, now this is why, now I could roll for pickoffs and all that, roll 20-sided die, and I have to remember to do that all the time. But I have enough on my plate right now, and I'll count, like, if you get thrown out stealing, I'll count that as a potential pickoff, make-believe. And that's a lot of what I do, make-believe. So attempt is a 6. Rudy May's attempt is a 0. So we're going to roll. Going to roll 1 die. And that's a 4, so he's going to steal. Larry Heisel is going to steal. We're going to have to look at – Munson is behind the plate today. It's usually Dempsey, but Munson is back behind the plate. He played as DH. He's got a 0 arm. So, and it's a -1, so he's got a 13, so we're looking at a 12. 13 -1 is a 12 for Larry Heisel to steal. Let's see what happens. And the throw down is not in time, so Larry Heisel walks and then steals second. So that's pretty much how I manage. I manage to try to be fair for both teams. If I'm a little bit more fair for the Yankees, so be it. It's not the end of the world, but I try to be as ethical and objective as possible. Bleacher Bums is in the house. Little Yankees baseball in the winter. Yeah, I think we spend most of our times rolling and listening to games in the wintertime because there's no other place to turn. I know I don't get this much action. I don't play as much in the summertime just because I spend 3 hours watching a ball game. I know some guys like to watch and like to roll, but I really like the conversations and the discussions, particularly between the Mets broadcasters. I think they're hilarious. They don't overspeak that much. They don't try to fill all the silence with real universe changing insight, which is what they do on ESPN, I believe, on Sunday nights. That's a nightmare. You guys ever watch that ESPN on Sunday nights? Holy smokes. Those guys don't stop. They try to top each other. Like, I know this about this player. Oh, and I know this about this player. And you know what? I know this about this player. Who cares? Just have fun. Relax. All right. Craig Cusick. Runner on second base, 1 out. We're in the top of the 6th inning. The Yankees are up 2-1. Both their runs came on home runs, one by Oscar Gamble and the other one by Roy White. So Rudy May against the righty Cusick. That's a 2-3, and that's going to be a potential strikeout. That's going to be a 12. The Yankee Stadium is going to make it a 9. And this time we didn't do this. We rolled the wrong one. Get away. Strike 3. Big strikeout for Rudy May. Curveball gets Cusick looking baffled, walking back to the plate. And now it's Butch Weiniger. He's a switch hitter. He's going to be batting righty. Heisel takes his lead off second. That's 5-5, and that's going to be a potential error on a grounder. Potential error on a grounder. Let's see what happens there. So there's a lot of drama in this game. I'm going to be frank with you. If you like drama and you like randomness, but you definitely like tendencies, this is an amazing game. Okay, because it's got all that. Because you never have any idea what's going to happen. There's so many. It's like a maze. You're going through a maze here. You know. Okay, so it's 1-3. Totally forgot what I was doing now. Totally forgot what I was doing. All right, I went blank on this. Oh, it's an error. It's a potential error. So let's see. Right? It was a potential error on a ground ball. So it's a 1-3. My memory's still working. It's a ground ball to first base. All right, let's see. Now, first base is usually a base where the rating, the error ratings in parentheses are kind of low. And if you can see, it's a 4. All right, we rolled a 14. So it's going to be now with 2 outs, it's going to be a ball that Chambliss gets to, and that retires the side. So basically, Weiniger grounds out to Chambliss, makes a nice play, and side retired. We go to the bottom of the 6th. We're moving and grooving here. Dave Goltz against Jim Mason. Great thing about these older replays. Oh, Jessica Mendoza. No comment. I'm not going there. But my buddy A-Rod, I'm speechless. I can't even talk about it. Anyway, okay. And it's so obvious that they're trying so hard to impress us. It's like, oh my God, no, it's all right. Just chill out. Just relax. Eat something. Show us what you're talk to us about what you're eating at the ballpark. You know, we don't need to know any more metrics. We got all the metrics we need. Jesus Christ. Just have fun. All right. Dave Goltz. Jim Mason. Jim Mason, terrible hitter. Batted 180 in 217 at-bats. But he has one of those cards. Look at that card. Look at that Jim Mason card. This is interesting. K is 14-14. Walk is 5-5. Home run is 2-2. Let's look at his splits for 1976. Jim Mason splits. Now he had 217 at bats. Let's see. He didn't probably play against lefties. I think they played Fred Stanley against lefties and Jim Mason against righties. And I think this is what Chris is doing with these older cards. But today, Jim Mason would be, a guy that you could potentially bat against right-handed pitchers. You would bring him in as a pinch hitter. He'd be crucial for that, playing that role, right? Okay. Let me look at the batting splits, 1976. Let me make sure I have the right guy. Yeah, Jim Mason. 1976 batting splits. Okay. Show platoon splits. He had 42 at-bats or plate appearances. Let me see. Let me do this for you guys. All right. His splits versus right-hander. He batted 190. And he hit 1 home run, right? 1 home run. Versus left-handers, he batted 132. And he hit 0 home runs. Okay, so when you look at his lefty-righty, and then let's see if there's any splits on the card. There are no splits on the card. So let's look at the at-bats also, to be fair. And that could be the explanation. I mean, or I don't know. They probably go by plate appearances. So versus righty had 194 plate appearances. Okay, plate appearances. Versus lefties, he had 42 plate appearances. Jim Mason. So that's what's in the video. I just found another player. So whatever the explanation is, I went on the Delphi forum and I asked, explain what seems like generic cards for guys. Now, this is probably averaged because he's got like nothing here. I mean, this guy, he's got nothing going on. 180 average. So this is probably representative of a 180 average and his overall stats because he didn't look at the splits. That's probably what's happening, and that's probably the explanation. All right, so let's go. Jim Mason. Let's roll again because we got sidetracked. All right, it's going to be a 1-4, and that's going to be a righty is a K. This is a lefty, so we're going to go off Mason. That's a 2-2, and that's going to be a 2-2 is going to be a pop-up to right field. Pop-up to right field, and the right fielder is Dan Ford. Makes the catch. Disco Dan Ford. Mickey Rivers. 2-1 Yankees in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And that's going to be a 2-2 against Mick the Quick. Now, Mick the Quick batted .312 in 137 games. So that's going to be a potential K against a righty. Potential K against a righty. And at Yankee Stadium, it's a -3, so we're looking at a 4. We rolled a 9, so we're going to roll off Mick the Quick's card. And that's a 2-2, and that's going to be a fly to right. Again, Disco Dan Ford doing the dance under the ball, makes the catch. He's going to be at Studio 54 tonight. I hope his manager doesn't find out. Roy White. Roy White hit a first inning home run. And that's a 3-4. And that's a potential home run against Roy White's batting lefty. Against lefties, it's 1-18. We roll a 4. So now we're going to go 1-16 or 1-18. I can't really see. It's 1-16. Anyway, it's a 4. And now we're going to move over to versus right-handed pitchers, 13. So we're going to roll. We need a 13 or less, and Roy White's going to hit his second home run of the day. And that ball is driven and to right field and over the fence. Home run for Roy White, making a 3-1 ball game. We rolled a 12. There's no negative modifier for Yankee Stadium for home runs. Against a righty, it's a 13. We rolled a 12. So that ball is gone. Roy White having a good day. Thurman Munson with 2 outs. That's a 4-6. That's a potential walk. That's a 6 -2 at Yankee Stadium. It's a 4. We roll a 10. I'm going to roll off Munson. No walk there. 4-3. And that's a ground ball to the shortstop. And I don't remember what his name was. His name was Danny Thompson. Danny Thompson moves over to Texas, so I have to pull his card from Texas. Let's see. Huh. Interesting. All right. It could be. It could be. So anyway, it is what it is. As long as they're straightforward about it, that's what counts. I'm really into just being genuine and being honest about it. And even if, like I said, I try to be as fair as I can, but sometimes I may be more fair to my favorite team. I try to avoid that as much as possible. Rudy May against Dave McKay. Dave McKay is 0 for 2. Hit into a big double play in the 4th inning with runners on first and second. That's a 4-6. That's going to be a potential walk against a lefty. That's going to be a 3 -2 is a 1. We roll a 15. So we're going to roll off McKay's card. McKay's a 203 hitter. 6-4. And that's going to be a star line 1, which is a ground ball to the shortstop. And Mason fires to first and, gets McKay by half a step. McKay is asking the first base coach. But nah, he's out. Go back to the bench. Steve Bry, 264 hitter, 2 home runs. And that's a 2-3. And that's a potential strikeout. It's a left-hander. It's a 6 -2 is a 4. We rolled a 9, so we're going to roll off Steve Bry's card. And that's a 5-4. 5-4 is a star line. Ground ball, second base, Willie Randolph. Up with it. Throws out Bry. And it's Danny Thompson. Danny Thompson is 0 for 2. He's ground out and flied out. The pitch from May. And May can go 27, and this is his 27th. Not sure what the number is in parentheses, 32. I'm not sure what that means. But up to this point, this is going to be his 27th batter. And I just look at the bottom of the scorebook. If you've reached that, that's basically 9, 9, 18, 27. See, I'm good at math too. 5-3. And that's going to be a ballpark. I'm going to look at a ballpark for Danny Thompson. That's a 5-2 in the ballpark. A 5-2 is a ground ball to Nettles. Nice scoop. Fires to first. And that retires the side. So we're going to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Dave Goltz is still pitching for the Minnesota Twins. It's a 5-5, and that's going to be, if he's tired, let's see, he goes 35. No, he goes 30 batters, and he is, where is he at? He's actually in 18. He's not even 27 batters yet. So 5-5, it's going to take us to Chris Chambliss' card. 4-4, and that's a ground ball, second base. I believe that's Terrell there. One down. Greg Nettles, he's 0 for 2, grounded out to third base twice, 5-5. That's off Nettles' card. And a 4-4, and that's going to be a ground ball to the first baseman, Carew. Takes it himself, 2 down. And it's Oscar Gamble. Oscar Gamble's left-handed hitter, batted .222, but hit 17 home runs and 340 at-bats. So you're looking at a potentially a 30 home run guy if he played the whole season. So if you're just rounding off, Oscar Gamble, and that's a 5-2. 5-2 is a potential strikeout against a righty. Yankee Stadium, that's a -3, so that's a 6. We roll a 10, so we're going to roll off Gamble's card. And that's a 4-6. A 4-6 is going to be a fly ball, right field. Disco Dan Ford is there, and he makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down for Dave Goltz. These older replays, they're pretty easy to play because you get pitchers going deep into games. So we're in the 8th inning now, and if anybody knows to tell me what the 32 means, he's reached his 27 limit. So I'd like to kind of, excuse me, be faithful to that. Let me take a little sip of tea. So, I made a huge mistake when I played Baltimore because Tippy Martinez, I pulled Tippy Martinez and I pitched him against the Yankees. And Tippy Martinez is still a Yankee at this point. He pitches in 11 games with the Yankees. So I just brought him back onto the Yankees. And the guy I've been pitching a lot is Tidrow. Oh, number of starts. There you go. Thank you. Who's that? Hey. Forever's in town. All right, so let me take a quick peek at who the Yanks were pitching. Tidrow and Lyle. Tidrow's going to bring in Tidrow for an inning, and then we'll bring in Lyle. So Tidrow's coming in. And we're going to write him in. Usually I bring in pitchers, but I don't write them in, especially when I'm streaming. All right. Does not bat. Dick Tidrow's in the game now. He's going to face Jerry Terrell. He's at second base today. Here's the pitch from Tidrow. 5-2. That's a potential strikeout versus a righty. That's an 8 -3 is a 5. I don't know what that is. That looks like a 19, so that's not it. I'm going to go off Terrell now. And that's a 3-5, and that's going to be line and caught by the pitcher. Oh, Dick Tidrow just protecting himself. Makes a nice catch. L1 is an X. Just and Disco Dan Ford. Here's the pitch, 63, 6-3, and that's range play. Range play off Dan Ford's card. Love the range plays. 2-2, third base range, and we're just going to roll one die. It's a 4, so let's see what Nettles' range is at third base. He may be a 4, he may make the play. And he's a 5 range. Holy smokes. So he does make the play. Great play. Throws from his knees and gets Ford. 5-3. That's a star for Nettles, Greg Nettles. All right, 2 outs. Rod Carew. Carew's 1 for 3. 42, that's a hit by pitch. -5, 1, nope. So we're going to roll on Carew's card, and that's going to be a 6-5, and that's going to be a star line. Fly ball, left field. Now retires the side. So Dick Tidrow, 1, 2, 3. Now Goals, still not at 30, not even near 30. So he's pitching pretty well. It's Willie Randolph, Rich Coggins, and Jim Mason. Slick Willie, 5-3. That's going to be off Willie's card. And that's a Snake Eyes. It's going to be a star line ground ball third base. McKay throws him out, 1 down. Rich Coggins. Coggins is 1 for 2. That's a 4-1. 4-1's a strikeout. And that's a 9. We rolled an 18, so we're going to roll on Coggins' card. 5-5, and that's a star 1. So it's a grounder to the first baseman, Carew. 2 down. Jim Mason. 6-5, and a right. He's a lefty, so that's going to be a walk plus. A walk plus. And he is against lefties, against righties, he's a 5. So that's a 10, that's a 15, -2 is 13. We rolled a 14, so we're going to roll off Mason's card. And that's a 6-2, and that's going to be a fly out center field. 3 up, 3 down. The 9th inning. And I always leave piled on. I never put players back in the deck if I've used them. I kind of leave them in the deck of used players simply because it helps me keep track of who I used and who I haven't. So we're going to bring in Sparky Lyle. He's basically the closer for the Yanks in this era until the Yanks pick up Goose Gossage, which, I don't know. I guess they wanted a dominant guy, but then they had Lyle and Gossage in the bullpen. Larry Heisel against Sparky Lyle. It's the top of the 9th. It's 3-1 Yankees. So Lyle's going to face Larry Heisel, Craig Cusick, and Butch Weiniger. So righty, and switch hitter. So he's going to be facing 3 righties. But back then, they brought in the lefty to face all the righties. It's just how they did it. Good old days. I'd like to get the baseball card sets for 1976 or 77. And I think I could probably pick them up for about $150. I'd love to see these players and what they look like, particularly guys like Dave McKay or weird guys, like guys that you don't really, you can't visualize. I think that'd be cool. See all the mustaches and the crazy fros. It'd be like, Christy Love and what all those blaxploitation movies that were so great. Blackula has a lot of great fros. If you ever see that movie, you should check that out. That's hilarious. There's another one, Cleopatra Jones, and all the Shaft movies. I love those as a kid, man. I think I wanted to be black when I was a kid. I loved those black movies. They were great. Loved Blackula. I loved Shaft. Love those. Anyway, Sparky Lyle versus Larry Heisel. And that's 6-6. That's a potential walk against a lefty. You're looking at a 9. -2 is a 7. We roll a 16. So that's going to be off Heisel. 5-4. And that's a fly ball center field. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm basically learning ball stat, ball score, and inside pitch. all simultaneously. So sometimes my brain freezes up. It's like it's loading. You know how like your computer starts loading? Craig Cusick. Cusick is 1-4-2 with a walk. That's a 3-1. 3-1 is a range play. Range play off Cusick's card. And that's a 2-4, and that's going to be range second base. I'm going to roll one die, see if it's really low, and it is. So Willie Randolph makes a nice play. And that's an E. So I'm learning a lot of stuff here. I'm learning all the hotkeys. I'm learning how to use this clunky ball stat ball score. I'm learning inside pitch all simultaneously. So I'm happy with my progress so far. I've probably made a couple little mistakes because I'm rambling on. Butch Weiniger, he's a switch hitter, but he's batting righty now. He batted .260. Eventually, he becomes a Yankee. I know I'm doing an 85 replay with the Yanks, and he's on the Yankees. So Butch Weiniger is just somebody who the Yankees have an eye on and are holding in high esteem as a young player, as a young catcher. So here's the pitch with 2 outs. It's 2-1, and that's going to be Butch Weiniger's card because it's a blank 3-2, and that's going to be line and caught by Lyle. So in back-to-back innings, you got line drives that are right at the pitchers, and the pitchers react, makes the catch, game over. Yankees win it 3-1. Rudy May is going to get the victory, and Sparky Lyle is going to get the save. The loss is going to go to Dave Goltz for the Minnesota Twins. And final line is 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Minnesota Twins. The Yankees had 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors. And all Yankee runs, 3. All Yankee runs came off solo home runs, 2 by Roy White and 1 by Oscar Gamble. So Yankee Stadium is, and you can say that the friendly confines are really paying off. So I believe that's going to be all for my present stream. I'm going to take a break and break from a break, right? Like this is work. I'm going to take a break from a break and relax a little bit, watch some videos, come back and roll another game of inside pitch. I mean, I want to get really good with inside pitch. I want to get so good inside pitch that it's basically second nature. And then I can help other people join the inside pitch army because I think this game has a lot to offer. I don't know how happy I am about those generic cards with guys with that have, don't have that many batting averages. I think that's cutting corners a little bit too closely. I have to say I'd like to see it maybe 20 rather than 40 or 50, like I think Bob mentioned, because the game deserves it. This is a great, great game. So the minute you start doing those little things, to make it easier or I don't know why you would do that. Well, then it takes a little bit away from it because now maybe you can argue that back then the platoon splits weren't as influential in the outcomes of games, weren't as critical throughout in terms of the strategy. You can make that argument. So, okay. But now you couldn't do that now. You couldn't have a guy with 40 at-bats, and not rate him because he's critical. He's a guy that you only play against one side. And if the card is just a generic card, then it would take the whole role of that player away from the game. Deep Drive Baseball actually figured that out. And they don't basically grade everybody for lefty-righty splits, but they pick out the specialists from every team. So you got loogies, and then you got those lefty hitters that only bat against righties. And I think that captures the essence of the strategy of the modern game. If you go back and you look at my Deep Drive Baseball games, and I explain that from the 7th inning on, it's all about strategy. You're looking at your team, you're looking at your bench, you're looking at what you have and who you're going to go up against. And that's the key to, I think, to the modern game. That doesn't mean I'm a fan of the modern game. I'm just saying that those are the facts. So anyway, all right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Contact me. Let me know where I screwed up, where I can improve. I appreciate all the input. And this is CP Cards and Dice saying I will talk to you in a little while. Hasta la vista, amigos.